It was supposed to be a simple reunion. Old friends, good wine, and a warm meal at Ashcroft Manor. The sprawling Gothic estate loomed atop a mist-covered hill in rural England, its silhouette jagged and unnatural against the blood-orange sunset. The manor's architecture, all spires and gables, looked more like a mausoleum than a home. Even in the fading light, ivy strangled its stone skin, windows gaped like hollow eyes, and the driveway was so old and cracked. It felt like it had teeth waiting to bite through tires. Victor Ashcroft had inherited the place from his eccentric uncle, a recluse who'd gone missing 5 years ago under mysterious circumstances. Victor rarely visited the house, but something about this year called him back. Perhaps it was the strange board game he'd picked up during his travels through Romania, a heavy, dust-caked box etched in crimson script and sealed with a lock that opened only under moonlight. Tonight, 6 friends gathered for a dinner that would become their last memory of the world they thought they knew. Victor, the host, Rachel, a nurse hardened by grief, Marcus, an arrogant venture capitalist, Lily, a sensitive painter with a secret, Tom, the skeptic schoolteacher, and Fate, Victor's ex and a hardened journalist chasing a story no one would believe. Dinner passed with laughter and clinking glasses, the long dining hall echoing like a cathedral. The table, old as the manor itself, groaned beneath the weight of roast meats, wine, and candle wax. But even the fire in the hearth couldn't banish the chill of the house, which seemed to breathe, slow, damp exhalations from unseen vents. Then, Victor brought out the box. It thudded onto the table. The candles flickered. Wind howled through a chimney that hadn't made a sound all night. Found it in a tiny village outside Brasov, Victor said, brushing off cobwebs. They called it Jockle Umbrella, the game of shadows, said it was cursed. He laughed, thought it would be fun. The box opened itself. No one touched it. Inside, a thick parchment board with ornate black paths spiraling inward like a whirlpool, small obsidian game pieces shaped like human figures, and a pair of dice made from what looked unsettlingly like bone. Each face was carved with symbols instead of numbers: a bleeding eye, a crooked house, a hanged man, a screaming mouth, a flame, and a door. "This is too on the nose, Victor," Rachel said, smirking. But Tom was already moving his piece to the start. What's the worst that can happen? They played. Turn 1, Fate. Fate reached forward, her fingers trembling slightly, and lifted the dice. They felt warm, too warm. When she let them fall, the pieces clicked and bounced, eventually settling on the symbol of the crooked house. The moment the symbol revealed itself, a wind surged through the dining hall, extinguishing every candle in a single breath. Darkness swallowed them, followed by the heavy groan of shifting floorboards beneath their feet. Overhead, the chandeliers erupted in a brilliant burst of sparks and shattered glass, raining down like crystal knives. In the corner of the room, An old painting of Victor's uncle, once stoic and proud, began to change. His eyes disappeared into black voids, and his mouth stretched downward into a ghastly, unnatural scream. The temperature plummeted. Everyone froze. "Okay, that's not funny," Lily whispered, clenching Victor's hand. "It wasn't me," he whispered back, his voice hollow. Turn to Marcus. Marcus, ever the skeptic and always trying to maintain control, snatched up the dice with a scoff. "Cheap parlor tricks," he muttered. He cast them hard across the board, as if to challenge the game. They landed on the screaming mouth. Instantly, he stiffened. Blood began to seep from his nostrils, slow at first, then gushing like a faucet. His eyes widened in alarm as crimson tears streaked down his face. A dull, haunting sound rose around them, a moan, low and guttural, like the building itself was in agony. From the walls came a sound like nails on chalkboards, and then a scream, long, drawn out, and unmistakably human, seemed to erupt from within the very foundation. Everyone turned to Marcus. His mouth was open, his body shaking violently, but the scream wasn't his. A crack split the plaster behind him, crawling up the wall like a living thing. "No one move," Victor hissed, but the board trembled, and the pieces shifted by themselves. Turn 3, Tom. Tom's logical mind fought against what he'd just seen. He picked up the dice reluctantly, hesitating before he rolled. The bones clacked ominously as they struck the board, landing on the hanged man. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, from the corner of the ceiling, a rope unfurled, old, frayed, and swinging gently, as if caught by a breeze no one could feel. The shadows in the room grew longer, crawling toward Tom like ink spreading in water. One tendril touched his shoe. He screamed and tried to step back, but the shadows lunged, solidifying into grasping arms that looked like those of children. Their fingers were long, sharp, insect-like, and they wrapped around his legs and torso. He was yanked backward into the wall. It folded open like paper, revealing a hollow space filled with darkness and echoing whispers. Then the wall sealed, leaving nothing but silence and a smear of blood on the floor. Turn 4, Lily. Lily sat frozen in horror, her breath shallow. She didn't want to play. None of them did. But her hands moved on their own, compelled by something beyond her will. She rolled. The dice landed on the bleeding eye. All the mirrors in the room, forgotten until now, began to ripple, like water disturbed by wind. She turned toward the closest one. Inside it, she saw not her own reflection, but twisted versions of her childhood memories, her parents lying in bed, still and blue, her own face aged prematurely, eyes gouged out, sobbing silently. The figures in the mirror moved as though mocking her, jerky, puppet-like motions that suggested something behind the glass controlled them. One turned. It had no eyes, just sockets, bleeding. It raised a hand and pressed against the glass from the inside. Lily screamed as the mirror shattered, the shards swirling around her, but never cutting her. One piece hovered inches from her, eye before it melted into smoke. Her memories, her nightmares, had come alive, and they wanted her back. Turn 5. Rachel. Rachel stood up, sweating, her medical instincts battling her fear. "We have to stop this insanity," she shouted. "No," the board hissed. "Finish the game." Tears filled her eyes. She rolled. The dice showed flame. She dropped them and took a step back. Smoke curled from her nostrils. Then, in a split second, her veins began to glow orange. Her skin bubbled. She screamed, not just in pain, but in betrayal, as her organs ignited from the inside. She crumpled to the ground, her body turning to ash before their eyes, the scent of burnt flesh overtaking the room. Victor lunged for the board, but as he raised his arms to smash it, his limbs seized. Bones twisted at impossible angles, protruding through skin. He collapsed, writhing, shrieking. Only Fate and Lily remained. Final turns. Fate and Lily. Fate picked up the dice with shaking fingers. The board pulsed, the symbols glowing in anticipation. She rolled. The door. The hearth roared, then parted, revealing a hidden passageway behind it. Cold air wafted out. A voice, not quite human, spoke. "Only one may leave." Lily stared at Fate, her eyes brimming with tears. "It's you. You have to finish this. You're the only one who can make it mean something." "I'm not going without you," Fate said. Lily smiled, stepped toward the fire. "You have to finish the game." Without hesitation, she walked into the flames. There was no scream. Only silence. She vanished. Fate moved her piece to the center of the board. The board crumbled into ash. The lights returned. The door creaked open. She stumbled into the night. The manor behind her was gone. Fate escaped Ashcroft Manor with her life, the only survivor of the nightmare. Days passed in a blur of police interrogations, sleepless nights, and therapy sessions where words felt useless. The world labeled her as a trauma survivor, a woman lost to grief and hallucination. No bodies were found, no sign of the manor, just an empty hillside where nothing had stood for decades. Desperate for meaning, Fate wrote a memoir detailing the horrors of Jockle Umbrella, every symbol, every death, every scream. Publishers passed. Her editor ghosted her. Friends fell away. The deeper she dug into the history of the game, the more reality warped around her. Lights flickering, voices in vents, reflections that moved a beat too slow. She stopped sleeping. She stopped eating. Then, one rainy evening, weeks later, a package arrived at her doorstep. No postage, no name. Inside, the board game. Reassembled, pristine. Her breath caught. At the center of the game board, the figurine shaped like her, Fate's obsidian piece, was already positioned 3 spaces ahead of where she'd last left it. The game was still being played. Alone in her apartment, the temperature dropped. The lights buzzed and blinked out. The dice, untouched, rattled inside the box. Slowly, they rolled across the board on their own. They landed on the door again. The closet creaked behind her. A whisper crawled through the darkness. "Your turn again, fate." She turned toward the sound, her heart thudding. The door opened. And this time, there was no one left to save her.